2016. But now, because of the efforts of the leadership of many of these platforms, I actually think it's going to be possible that these guys help sway the election for the Democrats, as tough as that is to hear. The president and conservatives, though, have been calling out big tech for their censorship for a very long time. And just this week, we've gotten a few more examples of how far they are going. A few days ago, as you might remember, we exposed how NBC was urging Google to ban articles that were on the Federalist website. And now Twitter has flagged a tweet by President Trump as what it calls manipulated media. The tweet contained a video of black and white toddlers that included a graphic that read, "Terrified toddlers run from racist baby." It's a spoof. And the video then cuts to an original clip, which actually shows the two toddlers running towards each other and hugging, and cuts to a graphic that reads, "America is not the problem, fake news is." See, it's kind of funny. Also yesterday, Facebook took down ads that were posted by the president and his campaign that they said were violating their policy against organized hate. Now, follow this. The ads featured an upside-down red triangle used by Nazis during World War II. But the campaign said that the symbol is widely being used by Antifa, that they, the campaign, were calling out as a symbol of hate. So that should have been something that they all agreed on, ironically. This all comes after the Justice Department this week pushed to reduce the legal protections that all of these online platforms have under Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, saying that tech companies should be fairer about how they censor content. So is action actually needed in Silicon Valley to ensure we have a fair election? Our first guest knows something about this and has his own lawsuit against Twitter for defaming him with accounts that don't belong to him. Joining us now, back to the program, California Congressman Devin Nunes. Congressman, welcome back.
It's great to be with you, Sean. Thank you.
You bet. Before I get to your circumstances, let me just have you weigh in on this. I believe that the president did a really good job last cycle of going around the media, speaking directly to the American people with social media. They recognized that he did it, so now they don't want to do it again, and they are doing everything they can, whether it's Facebook, Google, Twitter, YouTube, whatever, to censor these platforms against the president and his team to help influence and shape the election for the Democrats.
Sean, I think you're exactly right. We're in a very dangerous time right now. It was right after the 2016 election that Mark Zuckerberg, owner of Facebook, CEO, and Barack Obama made up the term fake news. It wasn't Donald Trump. And Sean, you know, you were there. It was a couple weeks after the election that Donald Trump turned around and said, wait a second, it wasn't fake news on my behalf. It was, you guys are the ones that are fake news. So he successfully labeled fake news across what is 90% of the media. Sean, you're the few that's in the 10% that isn't biased. And so the bigger challenge we have now is that since the 2016 election, and this is going to be the problem for the Trump campaign and all Republicans that are running, is that about 55% of Americans cannot be reached once you cut off the ability for us to reach them through Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or Google, or YouTube. And so I think that's part of the reason why the president has such a hard time trying to get his message out. And the media has become very good at being an arm of the Democratic Party. And they come in, they build a narrative, they drop a narrative bomb across the United States, so much so that people don't really know what's going on. Because I just can't imagine for the life of me that anyone would acknowledge and allow the Democratic Party to be standing for defunding the police.
Yeah.
That message is not getting out, even though it's true. So look, this is a big challenge headed into this election cycle, and that's why I'm on Parler. I go to Parler now. It's kind of a combination between Twitter and Instagram, and you can be there, and they're not going to moderate your content.
You know, when I was in the White House, Congressman, there was this internet or Twitter account named Sean Spicer, and it would tweet out the most egregious and sometimes very funny things. And media would literally pick it up as if it was me, because they bought the clickbait, and they would write stories and then realize that they got taken. But most of the time, it was kind of funny. But you have accounts on Twitter that are claiming to be people like you or related to you that are attacking you and disparaging you. And that's why you're going after them. But my understanding is that Twitter isn't even doing anything to help you find out who these people are or make this stop, which is kind of, it's defaming you.
Yeah, the difference here is that, parody accounts are totally fine. Making fun of politicians is totally fine. I mean, I even make fun of myself most of the time. But what this is really about is these are very specific accounts. And there were multiple accounts. There are multiple bot accounts. One is a much larger group, we believe, that was a very sophisticated run operation that said definitely were defamatory things about me. So it's not about making fun of someone, it's about defamation, slander, libel. Then there's a smaller account that has a bunch of bots that we think is a little bit different. But the key here is that Twitter's covering this up. And their CEOs involved in this, their board members now have been made aware of this. A judge has told them over and over again to comply, and all they do is delay and delay and delay. And look, all Twitter had to ever do was to just turn over the names of who the groups that are running these accounts so that we can hold them liable for their criminal activity. So Twitter's involved in a massive cover-up, and it's beginning to look like they've known about it for a long time, which is why they're delaying. Because this is the problem with these what I call the tech oligarchs. They have monopolies. We're forced to go onto there. And then if they don't like someone like me that they don't like, that they've shadow banned, and they just let accounts flourish on there. However, the big difference is that with AOC, very popular left-wing socialist Democrat, there was a very funny account on there, Sean, called, I think it was called AOC Press. And it was clearly a parody. It even said parody on it. And they just pretended like it was a funny press office. They took it down. And so if you go on there, just look to see how many fake accounts that you'll find of Nancy Pelosi or any of the Democrats. You just don't find them. And that's the problem here, is picking winners and losers.
And that's why I think this is a problem going into this election. We're out of time. I want to have you back on this because I don't think I can underscore how important. Everyone keeps talking about influencing the election in Russia and all these other things. We're having it happen right here in our own country by U.S. companies that are trying to influence the election by stopping us and making sure that nothing bad comes out about their side. So I appreciate the lawsuit that you're filing and holding them accountable. And as these things move forward, I want to make sure we bring you back and keep this subject front and center as we head into the election. So have a great weekend, Congressman. Thank you for sharing this with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me, Sean.
You bet. Well, with us now, Rachel Brevard. She's a senior advisor for the Internet Accountability Project, a group that speaks out against big tech bias. Rachel, I'm not sure if you heard everything that Congressman Nunes says, but what are you and your group doing to hold these folks accountable so that they don't do what I think they're doing to sway the outcome of this election?
So a couple of things. The Internet Accountability Project is a group of conservatives who are concerned about the power of big tech. There's a lot of people on the right who say, well, they're private companies, they can do whatever they want. And largely that's 99% of the time the right answer. These companies have become so big and so powerful that, to your point, they can swing elections. Interestingly, Facebook acknowledged this power. In a leaked memo at the beginning of this year, Facebook's COO said, we are the ones that got Donald Trump elected. It wasn't because of Russia. It was because he ran a really good ad campaign. But our platform is so powerful that we could unwin it for him, right? We could beat him the next time around, but we shouldn't do that. So they acknowledge this power. And that, I think, is very chilling, right? Our elections are, the integrity of our elections are paramount. And any private company, foreign actor, anyone cannot be allowed to interfere. And we've reached the point with these companies where they can, and it's a huge problem.
So Rachel, Congressman Nunes is suing Twitter because of these defamatory accounts. We've heard a lot about regulating Section 230. What action needs to get taken through either lawsuits or government action or congressional action that will help alleviate and stop this?
So Section 230 is the big hot topic right now. There's a lot of claims that, well, the government shouldn't regulate private companies. Well, the government is already involved with these companies. Section 230 allows them to exist. It's a liability protection that has allowed these companies to grow as big as they are. And so there's a lot of reform efforts centered on that. You have to be careful. You want to protect free speech online, so you want to make sure you do it carefully. But that's just one approach. These companies are also under antitrust investigation by 50 state attorneys general. So you have Texas and New York agreeing on something here, that there is a problem. There's probably enough smoke that there's a fire. But it's not just the state AGs, Department of Justice, the Federal Trade Commission, and Congress itself is also looking at antitrust concerns. Again, the fact that they're so powerful that they put small businesses, out of business. That's a huge problem. You want a free market in tech. So antitrust is also a big solution here.
Yeah. Look, I said this to Congressman Nunes. I think that we've got to keep on top of this, because I don't think it's understating it enough, the power that they have on what they are willing to do and how they will. They saw the consequences of their failure to really get involved in the last election, and that Donald Trump got elected. They're going to go to everything that they can to stop us. So what you guys are doing is crucial right now. What Congressman Nunes is doing is crucial. And I want to make sure that we continue to address this as we go forward and have you back to hear what else we can be doing and the progress that you're making. So thank you for sharing that with us. Have a great weekend, and I look forward to getting an update soon.
All right, well, tomorrow is the president's big rally in Tulsa, Oklahoma. And if you're not able to head there yourself, don't you worry. We have you covered here at Newsmax. We're going to be broadcasting the big event Saturday evening, starting at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. This is the president's first rally since the coronavirus lockdown, and it's sure to be very exciting.
All right, we're going to tell you when we come back why the president delayed his rally until tomorrow. It's supposed to be tonight. We're also going to tell you about a new book that the president just tweeted about that claims he's going to win and win big. And later, get ready for our company quiz.